Alright, update on OGN. So we're having a slight bounce today. There's a few things I see in the daily time frames, some of the higher time frames and lower time frames. Let's start off with what's going on the daily. So for the past 4 or 5 days, we've been having a slight correction and a pullback for OGN. You can see on the daily time frame, this pullback pulled us all the way down to the short-term moving average, which we did have a strong bounce from. This short-term moving average is the thick green line over here on the daily EMA ribbon. This is very bullish that we backtested the short-term moving average. Previously, when we came down to retest the EMAs, we kind of slipped down, halfway through, and then we started slipping to the bottom of them, and we actually lost them down here. It's very good that we're seeing this momentum pick up, and this time when we do come back into the EMA ribbons, at a higher price target, we are only testing the short-term moving average. Very good signs going on here. Now, looking at the daily squeeze mom, I don't know if you were here about a week ago, but we were talking about this momentum shift playing out on the 14th of April. We were down here, let's find it, 14th of April at approximately 48 cents. We soon had a 50% rally because we were calling for this momentum shift. We are currently in the dumps a little bit, but we are still up 23% since we did call for this momentum shift. If we look at the daily squeeze mom, it has really only just fired into the light green candles, meaning bulls are taking full control of this uptrend. I talked about this in my last video. What happened the last time we had a momentum shift on the 28th of February? We came from 28 cents all the way up to 85 cents. But what gets very interesting is if we look at this momentum shift, it took a while to get out of this dark red phase. I mean, the same thing here, it took a lot quicker to be fair, but we took our time in this dark red phase, and I want to show you what happened. Look what happened when we started putting in these light green candles, meaning that the bulls were taking full control of the rally. We literally catapulted from the first light green candle at 35 all the way up to 85. So this was exceptionally bullish, and we're finally seeing a little bit of push up once we are entering these light green candles. So I think the squeeze mom is going to continue heading to the upside. I think the bulls are in full control of the daily time frame. Let's come over to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, since our recent downtrend, we actually lost the 4-hourly EMA ribbons. They are starting to converge to the downside. We also didn't manage to stay above the 200-day moving average for too long at 64 cents. However, the 4-hourly squeeze mom has already completed its move to the downside, and we are preparing for that next leg up. The last time we had a momentum shift in favor of the bulls was down here on the 13th of April. This was your last bullish momentum shift. And from when we topped out, this led to a 54% increase, and that is not cherry picking the data. If I wanted to draw from low to high, you could see this was a 62% increase. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in pointing out the increase from when the squeeze mom called it. So 54% increase. What have we increased since we recently fired this? We've only increased 5%. In my opinion, that means OGN has a lot more room to move to the upside. And on the 4 hour, you can currently see we did have this big move to the downside, and it's very bullish when you see candles like this with big wicks to the downside. It means the bears tried to push the price down, and the bulls were saying, no, we're going to buy at these price targets, so it's pushing the price back up. And you can see we're putting in a dragonfly doji right now. Dragonfly doji is where you've got a doji with a long wick to the downside like this. It is looking very nice in my opinion. This is a bullish doji candle, and as of the time of recording this, literally in the past 5 minutes since I started recording, we are now pushing back above the EMAs on both the hourly and the 4 hour. So all time frames I've gone through so far are looking pretty good. However, let's come over into a more macro time frame and focus on the money flow indicator and the RSI, because here is where we get a couple of red flags. You can see we have not had much weekly momentum step in since we had this huge push up. And you can also see that this correction has not reset the momentum too much. The RSI and the MFI, or specifically the RSI, is relatively okay, but the MFI, meaning the money flow indicator, is heavily overextended. This means that I do not believe that there's any institutions picking up OGN. I believe it's all retail traders, and it seems like retail traders have already topped us out in this move. I mean, we did move up from 24 cents up to 83 cents in basically 1 week's time. And in the higher time frames, it really does seem like if we are going to have one move back up to the upside, like we've been talking about, I've personally had my eyes on $1. It seems like if we're going to come up to $1, then, you know, the MFI is probably going to be so overextended that we would be getting ready for a nasty move to the downside. So if this is your first time hopping into OGN, I would personally be very cautious. I still do believe we have a very decent shot of running all the way up to $1 before topping out. That would be a 66% increase. But as a conservative trader, I cannot ignore these signals that show that the market is heavily overextended right now. We're not seeing volume to come back in. It would be one thing if we were overextended and we were seeing an increase in volume. That would mean that it's a volume supported uptrend. We're not seeing that volume supporting it. It looks like we had a fake out on the volume. We've had a huge increase and we're currently quite struggling to get above this 200-day. I would honestly say the 200-day is probably your number one moon line. You can see every time we've come up into it, we broke above it, we tried to backtest it, we failed. We broke up to it, we didn't even backtest it. I mean, we backtested it to the downside, we got rejected. We tried to come up, didn't quite reach it, got rejected. We came up, hopped above it, had a retest of it, got rejected. We are coming up to the 200-day once again. So keep your eyes on 64 cent. We will not be able to initiate this rally without a strong push above 64 cent and a retrace, in my opinion, on 64 cent. We've done this multiple times where we've had these quick wicks and then we try and back test it and, you know, we kind of hover and then boom, we just absolutely fall through the table. So I am already currently in an OGN trade. If you were with me, I think we got in down here at approximately 36 cent when the daily EMA is fired to the upside. I will be including a stop loss in this trade right now, and I did just make an update on the altcoin markets. I made a emergency warning update. I'll probably upload this OGN video a couple of videos after that update. I do not want to go into everything that I gave a warning from the altcoin market cap. However, the gist of what I said was Bitcoin is setting up a very important retest right now, and so is the altcoin market. So I'm going to be including a stop loss in my trade. I'm actually going to include it just below the 618 Fibonacci at this previous low down here at 44 cent. This means worst case scenario, if I do get stopped out, I will be stopped out in approximately 24% profit from the previous trade. Now, I do not expect that we are going to move down here. However, I have included stop losses on all of my recent altcoin trades. Like I said, if you want to find out why I'm talking about these bearish signals for the altcoin market, then go check out my altcoin video. I uploaded a few videos ago, but if you just want a quick 20-second breakdown, Bitcoin is having a very important macro retest of this ascending channel right now. We've come right down. We'd really be wanting to see a bounce, but, you know, we are forming, you know, we formed a bearish pennant. We're forming another bearish pennant right now. And in my opinion, it looks like we do want to retest this and move to the upside. However, as a trader, it's probably best if we prepare for both situations. If we do start plummeting below 39,000 on the daily for Bitcoin, it means there'll be a lot of opportunities to accumulate cheap altcoins. And if you're already, you know, balls deep in altcoins, then you're going to find it hard to find those opportunities in the market. So I'm currently mainly hedging my bets in Bitcoin right now. The majority of my crypto portfolio is Bitcoin as always. However, it is more Bitcoin than it has been in the past month or so. I am waiting for a confirmed bounce on this support line. I would not like to see a move below 39,000 on the daily. If we do see that, it means a lot of these altcoins could become a lot cheaper against Bitcoin. And also, while we're seeing this important retest, the stock market is taking a plunge. The Coinbase stock is making new lows. Facebook is making new lows. You know, the tech stocks like the Nasdaq are completely falling off the table while the dollar is pumping. So we're seeing a lot of warning signs for the altcoin market right now. The actual altcoin market is still a tiny bit away from having this retest, but the daily EMAs have flipped bearish. So there's just a few reasons why, you know, in my opinion, I would be slightly conservative in the altcoin market right now. I am still expecting higher price targets for OGN. I am expecting us to go back up to $1. However, I am including a stop loss just below the 618 Fibonacci at this previous low at 44 cent, just in case we do have that move to the downside. However, All the time frames are pointing, even the 4 hours pointing, that the bears have already lost their momentum and the bulls are stepping in. We're seeing an increase in volume in the lower time frames, and in the higher time frames we have only just switched over to this momentum shift. So I think OGN has a very solid chance of coming up to $1 before, in the higher time frames like the weekly, we will inevitably have a local top before probably having a sizable correction. That is all I see for OGN. Like I said, I'm really hedging my bets into Bitcoin at the moment. I do still have my OGN trade open. I do think this setup looks extremely nice for all of the reasons that I did say. However, because of the altcoin market cap having a very important retest right now, I would be waiting for a confirmed bounce before I do jump into a bunch of altcoin positions. And as I said, I would not be looking to pick up more OGN at this price when we are this overextended on the weekly. That is all I see for OGN. We are still looking incredibly bullish in my opinion. I am still expecting $1 to be in play. We are extremely bullish on all time frames apart from the weekly, and bear in mind this weekly is more of a macro indicator. We can remain overextended for the next month or so. I am expecting we're going to have higher price targets before inevitably we do have a local top. And like I said, we're above daily EMAs, we're flipping 4 hourly and 1 hourly EMAs as bullish again. All of the time frames, bulls are taking control. So I'm staying in my trade. You know where my stop loss is down here. I'm expecting a price target of $1. That is all I see for OGN today. Once again, if you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to check out my full altcoin warning video, go check it out. It will be on my channel and I'll run through everything I see in the altcoin market cap right now. Once again, that's all I've got for you. Not financial advice. Cowboy out, and as always, peace.